Okay, we've got a leak that had been hidden here. And years ago, there was a roof put on the house. It was a re-roof, and what had happened was there was a sign of a spot of water that we thought was coming in from a wall flashing. And after we've taken this apart and redid the roof, which will be on another video, you can see there's no signs at that flashing. So what had happened was there was a curtain rod here, which I'll have some pictures of those earlier before we took this apart. This customer had no clue that this was leaking. There was no spots, no stains or anything here until this curtain rod actually pulled out of the header. So the bolts pulled out of the header. And reason being is because the years of the leaking had gone in and decayed the wood, and they lost their holding power. So when I was called here, we went ahead and we took the roof apart above us. This is a cathedral ceiling, and it runs up another 10 to 12 feet up above this light here. Actually more like 15 feet above this light. The rottingness was all nowhere's near the chimney and nowhere's near the wall here. The rottingness was all right around in this area here around this light. And this recessed light is it's a real hot spot in the winter months. When we tore the shingles off, the shingles, of course, within that area were all concaved, and this decking actually decayed enough to create almost inch and a half voids in the roof, or dips in the roof. So the water that was trying to get off this roof couldn't run straight down. It was ponding inside the shingles up above this light. So what happens is in the winter months, in the real cold days, there's a constant amount of condensation from this hot light feeding up to the bottom of the deck because there's no insulation between the two of them, and that's from original construction. And it was inspected and coded and never a problem, and never known as a problem. So what's happening is the water had fanned out on this decking, and primarily a lot of it focused into this area here. It rode the old plastic vapor barrier right down between this water plate. The vapor barrier used to come down and right down these walls, so that water would cling right to it and just feed onto that header. So this customer did everything in his power to solve whatever he thought was a leak, which wasn't an issue with the flashing or the installation of the roof. The issue was this, and of course that roof was over 10 years old. And now as time's gone on, that constant years of condensation that's migrated up there caused the decking to deter. So this, what we're seeing here, is actually within probably the last 2 years had festered in here, and it would be totally unbeknownst to the customer. Absolutely would not know about it until his curtain rod detached from the wall. And that's when he called me to take a look at it. So that being said, they did everything in their powers to as their contract goes, they have to, if they know there's a problem, they call to get the problem solved. They did call. There was no problems with the flashings 10 years ago, absolutely none. And then somewhere within the midst of that period of time, this whole decking area just broke right down. And I've seen it happen in attics where there's no airflow or there's an excessive amount of heat. Because warm and cold create condensation. So now we got a header that has to be replaced along with a jack stud that has to come out along this door and try to save this molding to reinstall. And then we've got popcorn ceiling going up to this area here. This we might get by without having to popcorn it, but this area is going to have to probably be redone. So I will get all of those numbers together and let you know what you're up against.